button is hit. You guys should be really good after hanging out with me for years at Theater of the Mind. Anyway, since we're recording now, I'll say before we get started that this episode is brought to you by our patrons, which includes Ahaga Comics, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, Soda-san, 0424, and Video Gamer 75. And if you like us and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon, because it really helps us out, and it's really cool. Yeah. Oh, boy right there. Yeah, I did just eat. Just up, because Lucky is a little soft to me. Yeah, probably a little soft. 50%. I don't know.
Let me boost myself up to 75.
Sound waves are a little small, but I think that's for everybody. That might just be on how the machine's recording audio today.
I'm going to boost myself to 100%, then boom. Done, you friends.
Yeah, wow, your decibel levels don't seem super high.
What the fuck?
I don't know, we're all at about the same level. Like, just there when I went, alright, that was like a big spike, and that's not even blowing out the level, so I don't fucking know. I don't know. Whatever, we're recording, we're doing it high. This is Mages of War.
We're about
you
to
guys are Mages of War team. Okay. I need to get some dice.
I didn't throw my AC because
a lot of XP last time, but did you spend it on anything?
I did.
I think I spent mine on WFR. Simple. And then, companion I got.
Yeah, no, I didn't spend mine on anything.
Well, you didn't get a lot, so. Reminds me, shit. It won't be relevant for this session, but I keep forgetting. I need to put more EXP into the major. Not that I necessarily want her to outshine you or anything, but if she's going to continue to be relevant as a character, I need to make sure she's keeping par with you guys.
She should be more powerful than us.
Oh, sorry, I was turning on my AC. What did Mega say?
I was just talking about how it's not going to be relevant today, but I need to remember to put some more EXP into the major. It's been a while.
She is our beloved NPC.
Yeah, like I said before, which the audience will get. It's not that I necessarily think she should outshine you guys or anything, but if she's going to be a relevant character in this story, she needs to make sure she keeps pace a little bit. And she's supposed to be pretty strong and pretty good, so it would be weird if suddenly she was, like, way shittier than you guys for no reason.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't spend anything, because I think I'm probably saving up to get teleport. Because it is my dream to, just teleport into someone's face and cut them.
Oh, someday I'll play One Roll Engine, and that's really easy. Just fish out my 10 identical D10s.
Woo, new stuff.
Oh, is there new stuff?
Yeah, arrows.
Yes. Changelog, I finally did it, and I added arrow ammo types and stuff. Nothing really special to note, other than that it's easier to make arrows as opposed to hand loading. It's not -10, but it's only craft. There's no mechanics, because it's not really like a high-tech tool thing. Also, I think this has been since last session, I added a new mortar and rocket ammo, which is anti-air shells, which add the anti-air tag. They increase their blast radius, and they have a slightly increased damage. Basically, the idea is that they have a timed fuse, so they can't go. I think they can't go out to extreme range. They detonate early, but they're more likely to catch a flying target in the blast. So there's more anti-air stuff, which I'm sure you guys love.
Oh. Because anything that we can use, they can use too. I don't need more anti-air.
Also, yeah, for the arrow thing, also I think I said that because there's no firm, reloads necessarily for arrows, it's noted as, 10, I think, which I think is how much is in a quiver. I don't fucking know. Buy quivers for arrows. So there's no weird complications. Also, there's an explicit rule with arrows, you can recover your arrows by making, a survival check.
Nice.
Unless you're using, you're using an enchantment, which means they're inherently destroyed, explosive or splinter or something. Because, hey, then, guess what, doofus? You blew up the arrow. It's gone. It's fucking gone now.
Real quick here, because I got a fuck ton of splinters yesterday, And I was just all like, does Splinter Arrows have to make you make a check for extreme pain? Because Jesus fucking Christ, I feel like I'm failing that check right now. God, Splinter's hurt. The pain was so bad, I was completely okay with just cutting open my finger to dig it out.
Yeah, they get rough. I got some very fine special clampy tweezers for that.
Ugh.
Okay. Woo.
Let's see, got on my dice.
I got my dice. Well, I got 7 out of my 8 dice. Oh wait, no, there's the 8th one. Boom.
People are very chatty today. We have to mute a lot of tabs. Or a lot of channels. Alright. Okay, got my dice. Got my books. Got my professional sleep. Alright, so here's what's up. We're about to skip like 2 or 3 weeks of downtime.
Alright.
For the sake of convenience, I will go ahead and pay you your daily rate for those couple of weeks at the start, just for the sake of giving you the money.
The money!
Okay. Yeah, I actually... Oh, yeah. About that, I actually did, check to see when we got each of our pay sessions.
Oh. So, Ulrich gets paid 70 total, and not easy. Wolfgang gets paid 140 total. Oops. Oh, my maker. It's good. Now Wolfgang's actually in the positives of money.
So you spend it immediately.
Yeah, so, basically, if you guys have any, shoot, I forgot the word. I want to say interludes, but that's not the word I was thinking of. But if you have any vignette scenes, there it is. If you have any vignette scenes or specific interactions you want to take place during this time period, now's the time to get them out of the way, because otherwise, it's the calendar montage. I have...
So...
one thing in specific that I know we want to cover, but after that, we're gonna...
That's all the session information I saw for where the pay came from.
Sesh!
Some of them are between sessions.
Oh. Okay, but, one thing... Oh, I keep meaning to pull up the goddamn main doc. I always,
hey, I can actually pay enough for getting runes on at least one of my revolvers.
This is the time to do it.
What? Should I get the one for the Radis, Lorelei, or Radis, or
Radiska! Go with Lorelei.
Okay, I'll go with Lorelei. That one has freezing, then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get that. Also have deep pockets from,
Have him make a healing potion.
Right. I actually need to look that up.
I think alchemy rules are in the field guide?
I think it's
They're also in the Marshal's book. The field guide is just bonus fluff stuff. I think I said some stuff there because I was public facing, but I'm like, fuck it, whatever. You guys can look at the Marshal's guide. Who cares?
So I'm just going to...
Oh, yeah, I suppose I should put that on mic. I was a madman, and now all NPCs have a paragraph after them. Most of them are short, but now there is descriptions for, everybody.
Honor Books 115. So I'm going to be, one of my, well, I don't know, I'll call it a vignette scene, but I'm definitely calling it a montage. I'm going to make me a Masterwork Armored Cloak.
Right.
Alright, solid, so you gotta do that.
Materials, so now I need to make the rolls.
Yeah, go ahead and do rolls. Like I said, there's...
Right. I need to look up that whole thing. Right, it's flat complexity of 50. I believe that's right.
I don't know, it's in there somewhere.
Anyhow, time to do that. I don't think there are any modifiers to this.
Yeah, so I just double checked. There's 10 pages of ritual rules, so.
I'm just going to double check the runic weapons thing just to see if that has any additional information I need to pay attention to. Oh yeah, time to get my...
It's now time for a half hour of shopping.
Yeah, probably. I reckon, because it shouldn't be too complex, that I'll go ahead and, we'll probably do the attack today to keep it on track, because I'm thinking, depending on how much faffery, I believe I said this to Lucky, I'm thinking about 3 more sessions, counting today, and then it'll be about the quick season-ish break. And like I said, I'm going to do some refreshing. But yeah, so I've got 3 major things, and then basically it's how much fucking about and planning does Lucky does. Oh, also, I do actually have the info
What?
on the second target. I figured that out.
okay.
Those guys would have that report to you within the 2 weeks. I just figured I'd sit on the information until maybe the end of this session, so to not confuse you and the viewers, make you think about too many things at once.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they're there if you want to
so-
ask those guys. So
Okay,
yeah, actually,
room
there's two
crossings.
things I think I want to bring up during the
nothing
week break.
else
So,
is
but you guys
needed
figure
for
out what
Max,
you're doing.
so-
Okay, so I'm gonna pay the 57 MC, and I'm gonna make me some roll. I got metalworking. I
Nice.
And also, because we
Uh,
established
then
it
I'm
already,
gonna
there
look
are no
up-
rules required. We are assuming that your guys are training in, obviously, basic maneuvers and co-op. That's kind of a given. They are training in parasite tactics, they are training in spotting, and they are training in mid-flight recovery and repairs, because we talked about that already.
And I want to also add a boarding
And,
party
yep,
boarding party
the rooms don't cost
actions.
anything more.
Yeah, sure. Give me a command roll. I'd say or
Command!
tactics, but command will be way easier for you.
Yeah, it will be. So
Let's
that's a
see.
30. Wolfgang plus
To biomech.
plus 50.
Having
That's
my-
a 91 total. So
having my-
write that down.
let's give them-
6 out of 1.
Where is that thing? Okay, so I
Me
get
and my
plus
fat
10
fucking
on
finger.
campaign item rituals.
5 DOS.
That's
DOSD.
gonna be 70.
Alright, so you go out there and you're like, talk to your friends in the Navy, and you're like, oh hey, we're thinking about planning some naval boarding actions. And they're like, oh hey, what a coincidence. We were planning on running some drills where we pretend to be boarded by mages. So you run some co-op exercises, which, because you passed by quite a lot of degrees, you do very well at over the
Nice.
course of the couple of weeks. I assume that works. I don't know.
Yes.
Cannot the fucking scroll wheel. There it
Okay,
is.
Now I just need to update the information for Lorelei.
I'm a little shook. Okay.
Look up the stuff.
Roll.
for Push. Case one.
Well, I only got 1 degree of success on my craft roll, so Omega, would you do me kindness and roll d10 to see how many days it's gonna take me?
Sure. Is this will be what, modified by DOS?
Yeah, it's gonna be DOS -1. I mean, your roll minus.
Alright, that'll take you 5 days then, because I rolled a 6.
All right, so 5 days. The XO is gonna be basically belting out orders in that time while I am slaving at the.
Okay,
You're like,
so-
shit, I need my knitting needles. Clink, 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 as you knit chainmail together to make your cloak.
Right. Okay, so I don't think alchemists will help me with raft doing his things. Just finding ingredients or components for alchemy.
Okay, so I'll hook up the Ethereum torch to my powered armor. And, actually, let's see here. How much do cores cost on the
Right.
That's not how you spell Ethereum. There we go. Core. Because we always have a backup for our flying units, but I don't want to have my backup be for both my flying unit
Yeah,
and
you're
my
issued
armor/torch.
spares.
So I need to figure out.
Okay,
This is a personal
how
heck.
much?
thing. I don't think I'd be like, hey, give me another Ethereum core.
25. Wait,
Can I
what?
pass it?
What
That's the Ethereum
sort
torch.
of potion do I... What potion should I even make?
It's at the top of mobility units. Like,
There it is. There it is. Wow, these are expensive. Normal Ethereum cartridges. Very charming. Forward at active ability. Phone. Yeah, I need a backup one. My armor/torch. So I guess I'll mosey over to the quartermaster and be like, hey, yo, let me buy an Ethereum. I'll give you this much. He's like, nah, man. I'll be like, yes, man. See these shiny metals?
alright, roll commerce.
Yep. Oof. That is
By the way,
Oh,
new
that's gonna-
session, new luck points. But
Yeah.
while we're montaging, you only have one set of luck points.
Oh. Well, guess what? I'm still gonna use my 1 luck, because that was a big...
Okay, so...
Even with all my bonuses, it wasn't enough.
Trying to figure out
it
how
was,
much
but I want a little bit better.
would be for this.
Oh, that's much better.
Because I know alchemy potions was cost-wise instead of ritualizing-wise.
Alright. Do I have commerce? I don't have commerce at all. There we go. So...
How much?
Oh, purple. There we go.
Okay, so...
7 success.
Okay, so let's see here.
Marth, what is your problem?
Sorry.
You're muttering. Just what's the real question here?
I was just checking something. I was like, well, I know that I'm trying to make a healing potion, but do I have to borrow that off of one of the talents, or can I just say, like, this is a healing potion?
You could do either. That's technically 2 separate paragraphs. You could just dump the ability for, like, healing touch or something into a potion, or you could build a healing type potion, which would have the effects.
Type potion.
So let's see. Is that actually in my sample complexities? Double check internal alchemy and make some notes later. Yeah, I probably have to make some notes. Internal alchemy. Alright, Mr. 70% off.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take this as like the quartermaster was like, you're about to do some real dangerous shit here, yo.
Yeah, I'll take some notes. But yes, because internal alchemy, that's reference when talking about using alchemy to make healing potions, but that's also, that complexity is based on the target, which doesn't work for a potion.
Okay.
So I'll have to figure out probably a standard potion-y type complexity.
Okay. Guess I'll just do the one.
Brews outlined above. Components are required. Complexities.
Armor cloak. My list of shit I'm
we could call it like complexity 40.
Okay. Complexity 40 for the potion?
Yeah, and that's got all the requisite rules that potion making has. Like, you require components which must be of blah 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 cost, etc.
Okay, so that's currently 20. So complexity 40, that would mean it becomes how many MC? Because 20.
Ah, that's in there somewhere.
Right.
Hold on. Vacuum David, I'm still a little stuffy nose. Anyway, okay. So Wolfgang bought his core.
I'm assuming over this time that the pioneers are going to be building that greenhouse. How long does that take them to actually finish?
It'll probably be done by the 2 weeks are done.
Alright.
Building base components is very much however long the marshal thinks it should take, because they're really complex.
Yeah, they are.
So I figure after assuming they're not doing much else, the 2 weeks to assemble a greenhouse isn't super complex. It's just probably a little bit bulky, and they have to be a little careful because they're using glass and stuff.
Okay. Checking.
Actually, maybe I should just put etheric wards on the armored cloak. Interesting. But no, I don't want to glow quite yet. Alright, well, that's that. I don't know. I don't know if this is the opportune time to go flying off and resetting ley lines. So who knows? I might have to just wait for next season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little headphone gave me a little bit of reverb there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you're already wasting 5 days, a decent chunk of one of your weeks straight on crafting. So it does sound like you're kind of busy.
Yeah, so I'll save that for another time. Let's see here. In the meantime, writing reports. Excuse me, Wolfgang, why did you just spend so much time making an armored cloak? Because I really don't want to get hurt. Why did you put engines and more metal on the planes? Because I don't want people to get hurt. This is all for operational
efficiency. Efficiency is a good word.
Yes.
Your people love that word.
Yes, they do.
It says the potion has no cost.
Why did you
The
strap a
cost for
torch to your armor?
equal to
Efficiency!
Is equal to XP cost.
Second paragraph. It's the one below that.
Okay.
Alright, so, yeah.
Okay.
And also, gonna spend some time with, this is, oh my god, I'm so weeb. I was about to say Reporter Son, but I was like, oh wait, thank you.
No, wrong country.
Wrong country.
I'm just
But
gonna
Miss
say
Reporter, and, because she was at the,
I'm just gonna say he paid 50 for this.
she was at the meeting, so she knows some shit's about to go down, so she is in the know. But, like, how much of a strict gag order has been placed on, like, the interviewing about said operation?
I mean, she has common sense, so she knows
Alright.
that anything directly related to it would be censored and not good to publish while you haven't done it yet, because, oh hey, people of the Commonwealth can read the fucking paper too. So
Well, I think she might. I think a good compromise is let her get like some photos of the prep, and just it's just.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind her getting the photographer down here to take some mission photos, they can do that.
Yeah, that's all. Like in
Because
here,
they'll just sit on them until they make them.
Yeah, here's the 3 bombers like being retrofitted. Well, not retrofitted. Well, actually, I guess I don't know. We might take it back after we're done with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
being
theoretically,
fitted out
with mechanics tests, and you guys have hangars, you could unsecure the components and then I don't know, basically sell them back if you really had
maybe
to.
we did real good that let them stay, just hang out forever. But yeah. Basically, of the drills, the flying, the practicing, the airships, get some, some jolly good photos of the men being like, yeah. Do a couple of interviews, outline our reasoning and decision.
Okay, so this...
Well, basically, because I actually thought about this, initially she'd probably want to come to you, probably while you're writing reports, Mr. Reportman.
Yeah.
And basically kind of, like, let you look at the first of her finished articles. The first one she's planning on sending back is based on interviews she's been conducting, mostly with the old unit, and it's kind of a rough summary of your, first half of operations before your promotion. So it's dealing with kind of your business with the initial recon and stuff you guys did, your time in that forward base, capturing the village and then capturing the fort as kind of the capstone. From the tone of the interviews, it's as much as about the now major as it is about you, but it's kind of like a rough summary of where you came from kind of thing, and she's been conducting interviews, so she will run that version of the article by you before sending it home, because all of that stuff is months old.
It's not filled with like crazy embellishments, is it?
Let's see. How good is she at writing?
So this is Bill Crap Milk.
Like, I understand newspapers like sometimes spice it up. I can only handle so much spice.
That's why I can't find the thing I searched for.
Okay.
Let's call this appeal. What's your charisma? Ooh, should it be higher? Maybe. I don't know. She did okay. Take her time anyway. All right. I mean, it's not like poorly written or anything. It's also not necessarily particularly biting commentary either. So yeah, it's it's embellished, but in kind of like what you'd expect, from a news report. Like, very positive, very good reviews, daring assault in the rain. Because remember, it used to rain a lot before I rolled differently, I guess, on the tables. Flying into enemy cover, bombarded by artillery. No, I'm not sure there was no artillery. The whole paradrop thing, a revolutionary technique. So it's written very positively, but it's not like super trashy or anything, and none of it's necessarily wrong. It's just what you would expect a slightly awestruck civilian listening to your soldiers talk about you like 2 months later, basically.
Like,
your internal
madman.
opinion is probably be that you were some kind of, crazy lunatic man who was desperately trying not to get shot. But, to everybody else, you're a hero and a tactical genius. So, yeah, that's the kind of tone it's written in. Also, yes, Marth, that's what I said.
I am slightly embarrassed seeing my exploits being written this way, but hey, this is probably what the folks back home want to read.
Yeah, so she's, she, thank you so much for approving. I'll send this off right away.
Oh, so before she leaves, it's like, I want to bring up the possibility of her mayhaps flying with us for maybe the first couple runs on the ports. Those, of course, have the lowest danger level, and she might be able to, as long as she stays out of the direct area of effect, might be able to get a decent account firsthand of the operation.
She's probably like, oh, yes, brilliant. Of course.
That being said, as I said, if you are to hunt, you must be, of course, be in a mobility unit. Traveling, you must have your bodyguard. Unfortunately, I do not believe the young cameraman has his mobility unit certified.
No, yes, we talked about that earlier, and unfortunately, with all the rush, there hasn't been, your unit is one of the major aerial units here, so there hasn't been a lot of chance to train because you're all very busy. Mm-hmm. That's all right. I don't think he'd be able to it's actually you've got your camera probably lying around your office somewhere now that you stole.
It goes on it's on my shelf of cool things I have collected along with my globe.
Yeah, so she'll probably be like, well, points at the camera. Well, it takes a little bit to get the impression, so there's not much to take a photograph of anyway. We'll probably have a sketch artist, do a plate later, an artistic rendition.
Anyway, well, as long as you can get eyes on it, then. I will insist though that again, the first and second targets will probably be acceptable, but third and on, the danger level will be much too high, and I cannot in good conscience have you travel to these areas.
Sounds like you need to make me another appeal test here.
Oh boy.
See, whether or not you're charming enough.
Ooh. I rolled a 42. Do I have a plus 10 to appeal? I think I do.
You might. Do you have anything else for social tests with people who aren't soldiers? Got anything for mages?
No, I got, it's all soldiers. And I have there it is. Yeah, I do have a plus 10 with my charisma it's 0 degree success.
No, it's still fine. You still managed to construct an argument that, and like, you pitch it in the right way that it doesn't sound like, oh, you are a frail civilian, because she's a fully accorded, academy mage. She's probably got a class ring line around here somewhere. So, like, it's just like, nah, listen, it's gonna be too dangerous. You're not armed and equipped for war. It'll also increase the danger to the men if we have to have anybody, watch out for you on the field also. So, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I understand. It's a dangerous business, but I'm sure, she mentions as an aside that, like, obviously they haven't told her anything because they're maintaining her operational security, but she knows that your guys in recon like to take lots of notes, so she's sure she can ask a couple of them to keep a notepad for her.
I'll definitely mention it to them. I'd be appreciative for that. But other than that, we're in full swing of preparation, so to interview the men and the air units and get their impression on whatnot, as you would. But again, I must remind you that since maintaining operational security, all materials related to said operation must be kept under hold until after the operation is succeeded.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think the next series of articles will be on some of your pre-Prophet's Day efforts, etc., etc. Yeah, so basically,
I hide my face in the embarrassment.
Also, BT Dubs, the reason why I set up this meeting is because you want to talk to her about the thing where you want to make people come here.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah. So, one last thing.
You say one last thing, and then, the pen and the pad just whoop, rise up. Yes? She's very gung-ho.
She is very gung-ho. I can't hate that about her. But we we have been working on improving relationships with the locals and whatnot, and also improving our own infrastructure and work. Just reached to the point where we have reached the labor cap, I want to say. As mages, we also find it our sacred duty to the lives of the land and those who live upon it, and we will be taking such efforts seriously post-operation. As such, we are going to be looking for enterprising and adventurous individuals to come settle here and grasp the opportunities that we be offering. I was hoping that maybe have such a glance down at the article, way with words, you might be able to pen a piece about such efforts.
So there's some nodding. There's like, oh yes, certainly. That'll be some of the next one. Of course, I can write something up.
I said, the major work isn't going to be done until after Operation NODENS. We are planning on increasing arable land, ranchable areas, maybe even looking into maybe tapping a few more mine veins. Have to, dot some I's, cross some T's. Sure, Busk gonna get angry for messing up her land. But as I said, post mission we'll have plenty of time to take care of that, because I wish to make this colony quite prosperous and a place that many can call home.
Well, actually, I could do fucking Foley for this because I have a literal pen and pad right here. So yeah, there's definitely some like the recording caught that, even if that didn't come through on Discord.
Just
fever scribbling.
All right, well, that is all. Do you have any further questions for me?
Kind of flips through her notepad. Nothing at this time. Thank you for your time, Captain.
Madam. I hide my face in embarrassment again as I think about how this woman's going to be writing about my exploit.
Yeah, and she's she's compressing the first however fucking many sessions of this campaign too.
Yeah. Now she's gonna talk about my pre-prophetness. Like, oh god, I thought it was cool in the moment, but looking back, I am so embarrassing.
She's gonna talk about that time you guys sunk some boats in the dark, in the fog. Because that was with lots of soldiers, so she can actually interview people about that. She may actually try and talk to you at some point about the Chimera thing, because that'll be a great horror story. But you'll have to talk to the player characters about that, because NPCs were only there for the last 5 seconds.
Well, I mean, the XO did get burnt to a fucking crisp. That was terrifying. I got a sweet necklace. I don't have any sweet scars from it though. Actually, didn't I get hit by the Chimera?
Yeah, you got punctured in the leg.
Oh, that's right.
I think you got snake bit.
I don't
actually.
have a sweet scar.
I think it was the snake tail that came around and bit you.
Oh, in the leg. That's what it was. So I don't have any sweet scars. God damn it! That could have been a photo op.
Nobody's really been mauled. You got a couple of puncture marks from various things, but no.
I'm pretty sure I got a bullet hole in my. I got several bullet holes in my chest.
Yeah,
because
you probably got a little bit of scarring. I think the worst of that was worst of your injuries has been fixed with magic in a speedy fashion.
Oh, that's true.
But you've still got some marks.
I'm pretty sure me getting hit by the flying fox's bullet was not healed with magic, because I was all like we're in a moment of crisis. We don't have time for healing magic.
Yeah, you were very strongly struck, and then but you still you only took a little bit of damage and some light bleeding.
Yep.
Because I did roll a topper.
So took care of that. Colonization advancement is the foundation is set. We're building a greenhouse. I said we're too busy to actually go out and start terraforming fucking Africa. And as such, can't fuck with ley lines. I don't even think I have time to go visit the spirits, so fuck that. Alright, so I'm just gonna go over some items if there's anything I want to buy. I'm done.
Okay.
Let me write Ethereum Core D on my pad here.
Just checking to see, like, guess it's just like, man, I already ordered everything.
Honestly, wait, actually, what is the damage on my bomb stuff? I gotta, because I have my heap fucking, well, I will. So I wanna see is like, carry my automatic rifle rounds on AP enough to equal, like, standard bomb.
A bomb rack is 2d10 pen 5. Blast 4.
And my auto.
In general, the auto rifle is, I think, 1d10 plus 5.
But it's also auto fire.
Yeah. But it's only pen 4.
Right.
Yeah, so actually no, like with so it has a bit more pin, it has anti-material, it has blast, auto fire 4. Well, as long as I can get the auto fire on, I can probably match the level of bombs, because all the damage. I forget, does auto fire, like, does the when you auto fire and you roll damage, does the armor affects each damage individually?
Yeah,
correct?
each hit is a different hit, so it's damage reduction applies separately.
Oh wait, no, I do it. This will have blast, so it will double my damage. So yeah, no, actually, it is comparable. Okay.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
similar.
no, I don't actually need to carry. Yeah, so I don't need to actually carry a bomb rack, so I'm not gonna worry about that.
Technically, I think, like, the thing to note is you can get off, because it's not, I don't think it's slow, you can get off 2 bombs a turn, but you only have 6, so. It's in the sample ritual stuff, Marth.
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
Oh, they gotta get me an extra. Actually, shoot, I should probably get me. Actually, do it.
Healing potion heals the drinker wounds equal to their toughness mod, as if they'd healed naturally. You can only benefit from healing potion once per day. So the fact that says healing naturally means that anything you do which applies to your natural healing boosts it.
I'm gonna actually get 3 extra reloads of ATM because I don't know how much shooting I'm gonna do. It could be a lot.
Yeah, it really depends on you.
Yeah. Well, as I said,
yeah.
if I'm going to be using my automatic rifle as a means of inflicting bombing damage, like just me making pot shots at targets is probably gonna start eating it up.
All right, you guys can finish off thinking about your shopping lists. I will be right back. And if it's super quiet, doesn't matter, cause truncate silence.
Yeah. I got my back. Or I really don't need any other.
Right.
Got armor.
Yeah, I got interrupted for a moment,
Oh,
like
what
I said.
Oh, what happened?
So it was like interrupt just as Omega was saying like what the whole thing was. I think he said something about it was being the sample thing.
I'm not entirely sure. Were you looking in the field guide?
I'm looking in the Marshall. I probably should just look in the field guide since the Marshall thing is like big.
Maybe, because that's where I like when it comes to the alchemy rules. That's where I always look in the field guide. Not for grenades. We're gonna want satchel charges for like later.
Right.
Because as I said, like I don't know. Like I know the Relentless is around. I know the Flying Foxes. I see no reason why they wouldn't like forward up at one of the ports of the head. Like
Probably one of the whichever one is the most important to them.
yeah, probably.
All right.
So probably the Oh, there it is.
Found it? Right.
Yes, I found it.
Yeah, it's right at the top.
God damn it, computer! You should reload that page. I was just on there.
Oh, big rip. I'm gonna bring my. Oh! I know what I want to fucking get. I want to get me a goddamn bullhorn.
Yeah, it's on the standard items list.
Yep.
Yelling loudly. Military
I think it was pretty.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how period appropriate it is because some of the notes about like weight and cost are based on modern stuff, which is all electronic, shitty plastic. technically this
Well,
is
from
like
what
an
I saw,
analog
they're just
thing,
literally, it's literally just like a cone with a handle on it.
Yeah, it's a cone with a handle, and it's got like a couple of layers of wiring to basically reverberate itself.
Wow.
But yeah, it's not super complex.
So
yeah, there's a second thing that comes back, because in those couple of weeks, because you told some guys to get up close and personal.
Yeah.
So they come back. They look a little worse for wear. A couple of there's a guy with a black eye, a couple of busted lips.
Oh my.
The report comes to you that basically they did infiltrate. They got their eyes on. They were kind of roughed up and kicked out for asking too many questions and hanging out near like the radio mast and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they weren't discovered. Though their recon trip was cut a little short. But basically, they get in there and they give you some additional information. So, as we discussed before, the target, which they have codenamed Fishtown because they can't remember what it's regularly called, is mostly rural. You're looking at it's basically like the AO is basically two halves, and it's like you've got the perfect perpendicular line. Water to your west, land to your east. The coast is very straight, north-south. So there's the actual port and a slight indent in the beach. They've got several docks, several of which, like we said, have been cordoned off by the Royal Navy. They already identified the couple of warehouses. There's like a third warehouse, and there's probably a small, fish, maybe not a cannery plant, but could be a cannery. But some kind of industrial storage and processing for all the fish they bring in. And they've also got their fish market. So basically, I will let you pick the time.
Mm-hmm.
I will let you know that whatever time you pick, the weather will be cloudy. Mm-hmm. They basically get the weather predictions for the next few days in the local. So whatever time and exact date you set it to be, the weather's going to be cloudy. You're also told that they talked around and they kind of got some schedules, so on the roughly prospective date, when we actually wind down out of time, they are expecting that, yes, there will be a light cruiser in port, so there will be a ship in port ticking on supplies. However, you do learn the good thing that, apart from the morning fish market, and kind of some burst of activity when they're first loading on ships, the town should be pretty quiet. The fishermen go out to fish. The soldiers are on shore leave, so they're not at duty stations for the most of them. So, fairly, even though there's a lot of bodies around, you're talking about fairly limited resistance. Okay. And also, hey, these people didn't get the memo. The target is not blacked out. So even if you do this in the middle of the night, they will be lit up with as much lighting as they have. Probably some electric lighting in the ports. There's no no, they probably had to run buoys with signal lights because they added the mines, so those have to be clearly marked. So there's probably some illumination to let everybody know that there's mines laid out. And some guidance. They have some signaling lights. They might have a little bit of electric lighting. The port will be somewhat lit up with searchlights and stuff because they got boats. But yeah, mostly nobody douses their gas lamps or their fires or whatever for illumination at night, because why would they do that? Nothing will ever happen here. Right. And so, obviously, since you're kind of organizing this, you can pick the exact mission details, but for sake of me conceptualizing everything, I wrote it down as it's a raid. You want to get in, get out. Mm-hmm. You're going to try and take the specific route that was mentioned, the overland, high and fast.
Overland, high and fast. We're going to aim for a time, I'd say mid-afternoon this time.
Alright, that's a good time.
As I said, people will be out to work. People, like I said, people are on shore leave, so the cruiser and military targets should be mostly, I want to say this, mostly unoccupied. Like I said, soldiers will be in town. Civilians will be out at work.
The boats will be out to fish.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to make the cruiser one of our primary targets, along with the warehouses and I'm gonna be part of the advance team to give the fucking what's the word? Oh, the warning, the advance warning, and at which point I will fucking blow up their radio antenna.
The radio mast. Alright.
And yeah, we'll come in high. We'll hit our military targets.
Yeah, you'll probably, because you boosted their height and stuff, you guys can probably cruise above the cloud line, and then descend on the target.
Oh man.
So
wait, no, because
no need to worry about observers. You can fly by instruments.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's got instrumentation in this day and age. Everybody's got a compass. You have an altimeter in your mobility unit. There's no radar or anything in planes. There aren't really, like, the fact that everybody in your unit has radios is kind of a special thing. So yeah, no, everybody navigates by instruments and eyeballs. So no,
Okay.
that's perfectly acceptable. This will just mean that Marth's navigation roll has to be really good so you don't get lost.
Right.
Because as discussed, the bombers do not corner well.
Yeah. So Martha, it's gonna be on you to make sure we have a straight line targets.
Okay.
Alright, so
and so then, if you got all of that, I think there's only one more scene before we get started, because I assume you guys will, afterward we've handled your reinforcements and stuff. You guys will probably be like, okay, well, let's go ahead and deal with the thing. We've been drilling for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. The U-boats make it?
Yes, actually, which is what I was getting at. So after about a couple of weeks, you guys get the radio call or the telegram, basically from port, which is like, okay, U-boats are steaming in. They'd love you to be there to greet them.
Oh, very well then.
So probably your senior staff, the major, will come because she's in charge of your unit. Technically, she'd have to sign off on all this stuff because of her higher rank, and so you guys will trundle bundle on down.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at the dock. You see a U-boat. It's very modern, design. Let me see if there's some good U-boat images that are nice and close. Yeah, some of these are a little small. That's a little low resolution. There you go. This is a good one. We copy this one. This is probably a bit more the size and style we're going for.
Oh.
Upload.
It's loading. Cool.
So yeah, it'll be about this style with the Marshal's Handbook. They have heavy vehicles. They have deck gun mounted. They've got a little light machine gun mount. They got a couple of inflatable dinghies that they can roll out, for actually moving around. And this one is modified for mage teams, though you don't necessarily see where their outlet is. You would presume it's on the bottom because they're submersible.
Okay.
So yeah, there's some sailors. They've been, probably the round trip time for them has probably been in excess of a month. It's just, by the time the telegram that, okay, they're on their way, gets down to you, they're like halfway here.
Yeah.
And from what you understand, it sounds like they were making full burn time here. Not a lot of stops. Not a lot of fucking around looking for targets. So they come in, you meet the command crew, there's a captain. Mm-hmm. Salutes all around. Mm-hmm. He says, pleasure to meet you, but my men have been in a tin can for several weeks. We're gonna let everybody out for some shore leave and relax. We can talk stuff later. I'll refer you to my mage unit commander for liaison work. And so, unpack some mages, and then, alas, your poor major is taken up by a hug.
Oh,
my darling sister, so good to see you. And she's, the major screams internally, but alas, you are unable to do anything because this is her second oldest sister. You can see that she's got the naval rank markings for... Funnily enough, I've realized the way that the Germans break down their naval ranks is like... I think basically everybody above a lieutenant is a kind of captain, just for a different size. So technically,
Probably.
Even though she's not in charge of a ship, her rank is called Corvette captain. But she's the equivalent of a major, so they're the same rank level. So she outranks you.
So
after family greetings, hugs, and everything.
Oh no, I'm gonna get in my sly remark as be like, adjust my habits like, my apologies, Major. It seems I am outranked, and unable to assist you in this matter. I might have a stupid little grin on my face.
Thunder rumbles in the distance, but nothing terrible happens to you.
Yet.
No, she cannot quite shoot eye beams that make you disappear. Melt you down to your well-polished boots. But all right, after, rounds of greeting and everything, and then says, the Major kind of deep sigh, deep breath, deep inhale, and she, introduces you, and she says, all right, everyone, this is my sister. She's in the Navy. This is, Corvette Captain Margareta von Schulteis. There's, plenty of crisp salutes and stuff, but she'll also shake hands. She's very friendly, very, very outgoing.
Nice.
So the Major is, as we discussed, first of all, she's only like 17, but she's still a bit small for that anyway. Like, she's short, thin. Her sister is not super tall, but very averagely heighted, lean swimmer's build, because obviously she literally swims. Her hair's kind of done up in a professional hairstyle that will fit inside one of those giant bubble helmets, even though she's in, dress uniform now. Or maybe not dress, but at least full-on regular uniform. So I don't know if I've physically described the Major at some point, but I don't know if recently, but the Major's kind of pale. She has, kind of like, silvery colored eyes, like, kind of like starlight. And her hair is blonde, but very, very pale. Her sister has very deep blue eyes. That's pretty typical for a water mage. Which I think the Major discussed her family with you, so you'd know her two older sisters are water mages, and they're both in the Navy. And her hair is kind of a pale blue color. So yeah, there's lots of stuff, and she's like, if you want to, you can come aboard. We can go to my office really quick and discuss some stuff. Otherwise, catch up. Otherwise, got guys that can go places.
Sorry, I just got a call saying that the Department of Social Security suspended my Social Security number for suspicious activity. And I'm just like, hang up.
Okay. Sure. That's the thing that happens. All right, yeah. But basically she's asking if you guys want to come aboard the sub and, talk in her workspace or what.
Oh, yeah, sure. I want to check it out.
All right, okay. Permission to come aboard, welcome aboard. She takes you back. So basically, these early U-boats, they're very cramped. Everybody has to hot bunk. If you're not on duty, you sleep in a bunk. It is not your bunk. There's minimum storage capacity. Captain Margareta reports to you that because they didn't spend anything, the magazine is full up. They've got I think it's 6 torpedoes. They've got their full, block of deck gun shells loaded in the magazine. Big stonking belts of LMG ammo. Because they are a mage boat, technically, they do carry not just equipment from the mages, but also most of the sub's officers have access to sidearms, naval pistols. They got a handful of rifles around for boarding actions. And basically, at the very back, there's a little moon pool, which can be sealed up in an emergency, but there's a little, flip-open door, there's a ladder down, and it's basically, she says, okay, this is my ready room. You see their sub-units are hung on the walls, they're racked, they've got chairs to wait, they've got a little bit of armory space, to store their weapons, points out some stuff. Since this is, 6 more NPCs, well, 5, because it's a top 6-man team, but basically she introduces you to her mages, because she's team commander.
Handshakes.
Yeah, handshakes, meet them. She basically points them out. She's got metal mates. She's like, he's a young one. She's like, this is my field repair and sabotage specialist. Points at another big burly dude with a huge beard. That is not regulation, but it's very hard to shave at sea. Who's sharpening a big axe, and he's like, this is my boarding specialist. We've got this is my fastest swimmer, etc. Kind of runs down. So they've all got little slight specialist roles.
Yeah, nice.
And basically runs down and is like, so yeah, that's the disposition of our team. We've been roughly briefed and poured as to your situation, so we'll, have to, pop on down to the office and talk sometime. Oh, sister, let's have dinner and catch up. And the Major's like, yes, we will catch up. There's so many fine dining establishments here.
I'm secretly delighted at this exchange.
Yeah, no. They're very dissimilar.
Yeah.
Margarita is, like I said, very...
No, not even secretly. I'm a little openly delighted about this. I'm like, tee-hee.
Yes, the Margarita represents what you know a lot about water mages. They're very, very flexible, very adaptable, very friendly.
All right. Well,
you hear some shop talk. Margarita mentions, eldest sister just got promoted. Something in the North Sea. She's now, executive officer on a vessel. Because the executive officer was killed in a bombardment, because the North Sea is really hopping right now.
Oh my.
So she got a brevet promotion, blah, 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 and, oh, look at you, sister, you're the same rank as me, how adorable. Kind of stuff. You hear some jabber from home. Apparently their eldest sister has basically sent from home to, take out one of the ancestral weapons they have in stock.
Oh my.
And carry them with her. You're like, oh, that's a big deal. Most mage families with any amount of history have, a couple of bits and bobs left over. Some of them are just historical, but, some of them are actually, like, ancestrally touched weapons, historical masterworks. God forbid somebody has an actual arcane weapon left over from a legendary ancestor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's cool.
Your family might have something lying around. You never know.
Yeah, no, I just added my Masterwork Medium Shield to that collection. It's like, yeah, here, have a bitchin' ass shield.
Yeah, send it home.
Hang it up somewhere. Alright.
Yes, yeah, basically, unless you have any specific questions, they'll babble about family stuff for a little bit. You can, touch base with the sub-mages and kind of get a feel.
Yeah, definitely invite them to the club later, and we will probably be having another Brain Trust meeting on the upcoming operation. How many days do we have before the operation kicks off?
Well, now that the U-boats are here, you probably want to, because I'll say you probably got a couple. They're basically like, command is like, okay, reinforcements have arrived. What's your training schedule like? Surely you're done by now. It's been 2 weeks. So you probably have, 2 or 3 days to finish prep before they want you to set off. Obviously, they have to, like, if you're planning on using the U-boats, they have to, like, get refueled. These poor sons of bitches have to stretch their legs. Yep. That kind of stuff. But
and we gotta coordinate a little bit. So if it pleases the Major, I would appreciate it if she give me some of her time in the next couple days before the operation kicks off, so we may discuss strategies and tactics.
All right. So yeah, you can go ahead and get done to that. Yeah, no, I just said affirmative. She's like, of course, yes. That's perfectly acceptable.
Crisp salutes. Slight wink to the Major. And Wolfgang is out.
Wolfgang out! Smoke bomb! Jump in the moon pool, Scarper! But yeah, and since you got to look at their equipment, you'll note that they are, the sub-mages are mostly close quarters equipped, because they're sub-mages. You've probably got some people armed with some fun stuff, like, now there's, one of the arrow types I just added was, bow fishing arrows, which don't take any penalties to shoot into water, so, probably got somebody with, like, a crossbow or something, as, like, a, makeshift harpoon gun. Because, unfortunately, try as I might, pneumatic harpoon guns weren't invented until, like, the 30s.
Damn it!
I'm like, I kind of want to add them, but at the same time, that seems like a little much. That's a couple decades worth of tech advancement. Just so you guys can shoot
about with just by magic, because that's, pressure and and other, like, underlying science. It's not just something that's like, oh yeah, magic gives it power.
Yeah, that's you need to figure out cheap compressed air and actually market it to people, because the compressors that run subunits are magic powered, and they are a whole suit, which is very heavy. Like, they do have some kinds of compression bottles and stuff like that, but it's not a very advanced thing, and I don't know how portable it is to put in a gun. Yeah. But yeah, so they've got stuff like machetes, axes, tridents. Got a couple of like bolas or something and stuff. the captain herself carries a trench gun, shotgun, a couple of shotguns for close quarters work.
Okay.
Might even upgrade to like an auto shotgun. And she probably will at some point show off, just because I love references. She has a bolt action, a repeating rifle that's been shaved down to like super short. Stock's been cut off, a mare's leg conversion basically. She's like, I keep this with me for close encounters. Because nothing says fuck you like a sawed-off bolt-action rifle at a couple of paces.
Isn't that a mare's leg?
Yeah, it's a mare's leg.
Yeah.
She's got a mare's leg conversion, yeah.
Cool. Alright,
so yeah, they've probably got a couple of the man-portable sea mines. Those aren't suitable for, like, big boats, but, like, a couple of little ones to, like, float and pop. And they've got some satchel charges, because that's a thing. They've got some scuttling charges, basically. Put on a boat below the water line. Sometimes on the inside, sink them.
That's actually funny, because I was actually considering, like, if, once we get later, we'll start just bringing satchel charges, just in case we have to do boarding action.
No, it's pretty solid. That's what they got. That's what they got the scuttling charges for. And they've, not a full set, but they've probably got a couple of bomb racks with mini torpedo conversions. But they are based on a sub, so they have to travel a little light. So it's mostly melee and close quarter stuff. They aren't like, nobody ride like a sniper rifle or anything fancy. It's, we get on boat, or we don't even get on boat. We break boat, we go away. We do recon. If they have to, they can, swim out of the river with a knife in their teeth and, grab some guys right off the docks. But that's about it,
Alright. Would a U-boat be able to navigate those sea mines? Or because are those like surface sea mines, or are they underwater?
They're anchored, but yeah, they would, because remember, they can't we talked about this with the way the rules of war work. They can't actually completely blockade in their own port. What they did is they created a long corridor so that normally a boat approaching would have to face a long straightaway while lots of guns are pointed at it. But there's enough depth in the bay that the U-boat can approach submerged, which would take care of that problem.
Okay.
So yeah, you can basically have them in the mine channel, and they could launch torpedoes. You want to be careful with those; they only carry a few, and they're expensive. But see, because actually, they spend a fish only if absolutely necessary. Normally, what they do is they sink with a deck gun, or they'll board, and if they have to get rid of a ship, they'll scuttle it.
Well, not the case. I might. I'll probably suggest that we'll leave the light cruiser up to their discretion.
Sure.
As I said, they might relish the opportunity to not take one down. We can also make, I guess, if the U-boat's going to be in the channel, though, I don't want to really necessarily make the sea mine tertiary target. Because I remember you mentioning something how like it might be used to clear out some sea mines. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be dropping bombs in the water with my.
No, that's okay. Well, now that you've waited for the subs, you have additional sub mages who, like, they'll just get some bolt cutters and de-anchor the mines, which will mean they basically disarm themselves after a while. Because once again, rules and regulations, you're not supposed to use unanchored sea mines that don't disarm themselves. They'll probably drift and like sink into the water and explode, or like run up on the beach or something.
Ooh. All right, but so yeah, I'll let the sub and sub mage handle the light cruise, and we'll just focus on the military targets. Excellent, yes.
High fives all around.
All right, but
yeah, we covered all the recon stuff.
They're proper stall soldiers. I'll expect them to conduct themselves accordingly on land.
No, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're they're naval officers. They've been doing this a while. They did. That's another thing. The U-boats are pretty new, but these crews are not necessarily new. They picked technicians and sailors that are actually experienced.
Okay, good. Excellent.
Like a lot of these guys were serving on earlier first generation U-boats, like interrupting shipping in the Med and stuff, or the English Channel, or Tenian Channel.
So yeah, other than that, I think I'm all set.
Okay, Marth, are you all set?
Yes.
I am armored the fuck up. I have weird shit on my armor. I got a fuck off gun. I got the sub units. We have a plan. We have bitchin' ass ships full of armor and paint. My guys have been training for weeks, literally. And we got a cool greenhouse to come back to and plant sweet herb.
So yeah, all right, everybody's geared up. All right, well then, shoot, that's right. Calculated distance. We actually calculate how long that'll take. So it's roughly from home base 800 kilometers to target.
800 kilometers.
So let's see. What's
I think
your...
the fastest is like, what's the fastest that the bombers can go?
Well, this is one of the reasons why we gave them boosted engine.
Yes, they have had their speed boosted.
Boost!
How much is their speed now?
So, let's see, scrolling. So, heavy bomber is normally top speed is 160 kph. So that's what, plus 50 for?
Yeah.
So 160.
So that's
160 times 1.5.
240? What's that?
Yeah, 240.
Yeah.
240, so 800. That is about 3 hours plus a bit more time.
Oh, I say you're going to be one navigating. Who knows? Maybe shave that off. Maybe you can find a sweet tailwind.
Yeah, I think. Hold on. So let's see. Do you want to ride Parasite the whole way?
Yes.
Because you're maybe not you, because you guys have like training and stuff, but most of your guys' top speed is about 150 to 200. So the bombers are faster than them, going full click. But
here's a question.
They're heavy bombers. They're big.
Does double time affect flight traveling?
No, that's meant to be jogging speed, basically.
Okay.
An overland walk.
Okay.
It's basically so you can have your guys march faster without necessarily getting super tired. Because if you are on foot, humans move fucking slow. It sucks a lot, but, So double time is how to make it suck less without tiring everybody the fuck out.
Right.
Alright.
Okay.
Marth, how fast can you fly?
My fastest flying speed is 250 right now.
So you can keep pace with the bombers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna be like...
I can stay in the air.
We're gonna stay in the air. The others will fly Parasite. And then... Oh, shoot, I'm the one who can fly 400. I could probably just go deliver the address by myself, shoot the thing, and come back. Real fast.
The captain
actually.
and his XO, the senior lieutenant, go alone into this fishing village to let them know, hey, beat your dubs. I'm gonna blow your shit up.
Like I said, my max speed is 400 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, you're a fast boy.
And that's that. Okay, so it's all about navigating part.
Yep. Time to roll navigation. Let's see. So you need to take it'll take you about, to get at the intended time, as discussed by the captain, and thus not disappoint him, you wanted mid-afternoon, so you're probably sitting out, like, right afternoon meal.
Okay. So afternoon.
Sun is high. It fucking sucks.
Okay, so...
Because you guys are flying above the cloud layer.
Okay, I'm just checking on what bonuses I get.
The target is in enemy territory. You are spending a
so
significant chunk of this flying through enemy territory.
And this is... Right. Would nature level account for this since I'm dealing with flying through nature?
Yeah, you are in outdoors. The target's not urban, and neither is the terrain around you.
Okay. So that's another 10. That would be... 1. I think my sensory... Wait. Well, sensory boost counts for all per-related things?
Yeah, if navigation is per-based, which I think it is.
Yes, it is. So that is 91 then.
Back them bonuses.
Let's see if we can shave off some time.
Okay. 7 DOS.
Alright, you can probably shave the time on that down and make it a nice even 3 hours. So, you have to spend 3 charges. Marth, none of the mages have to spend 3 charges. The captain only has to spend 1 charge, because efficiency.
Efficiency.
Right.
But as we close off,
I still have mana battery.
Yeah.
I can use.
So, it'll take 3 hours, but once we're about, let's see here. I could just give him a half hour. Yeah, once
you're close to double the speed of the bombers, so.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think. So when we're about an hour away, I'm going to kick into full speed, so I get there in a half hour.
Yeah, and that should mean you'll be able to regroup with your unit as they get close.
Yep.
All right.
So,
make me a pilot check.
Pilot.
Because they're flying fast. Let's see if some stuff happens. 99. You fly too low and eat a tree.
I'm in the middle of the fucking desert. Why is there a goddamn tree here?
Well, it gets as you get more and more south, it gets less and less desert. The terrain outside of town is very hilly and dunish. It's a beachy area.
Dear. So 33 out 5. That is 2.
All right. You manage to fly either high or low enough. Nobody really seems to spot you, and you get there in an orderly fashion.
Cool.
So you see the town as expected, because you had photographs and stuff. You know, there's a big, long main drag where you see lots of, like I said, there's lots of little small town shops with 2 P's and an E. There's several, like I said, taverns and inns and stuff, which even in the middle of the afternoon, hey, you know, sun's over the yardarm. They're doing a bit of business. Like I said, you see residential housing of various types kind of clustered out from this main drag. Most of them are just, you know, quaint little fishing cottages. There are a couple of nicer homes, which you assume are owned by more rich people. You know, there's a handful of civilian boats in the docks, more like pleasure craft than fishing vessels. Though you may see, like, a fishing boat under repair or construction, you know, kind of pulled up onto a dock somewhere. Not a full-blown dry dock, but, you know, somewhere where they can kind of, like, maybe pull it up on the beach to work on it. The fact that you passed your pilot roll means that none of the guys sitting in sandbags actually see you as you approach, so they're busy smoking and making terrible jokes and humming a long way to Tipperary. Because they're looking at the ocean. You can see the anchored mines as basically these rows of, like, dark, vaguely spherical shapes under the waves. You know, maybe the surf is... it's not super windy, so the surf is kind of mild today, so you only see maybe a hint of them kind of under the waves. You do, in fact, see a light cruiser, you know, a Britannian armored cruiser flying the Royal Navy flag. They're not under steam or anything, so they're, anchored dead stop. You see a couple of guys milling about. There's some poor asshole who's stuck on the observation tower. You know, having a smoke. Also vaguely looking at the ocean. You can see the couple of the marked warehouses, and also, like I said, they've got like a little separate... They got a third warehouse, which looks like it's more, actually still reserved for their fishing needs. There's those couple of boathouses that I mentioned. One of them you can kind of see those little torpedo boats puttering around in, you know, waiting, maybe go out on a patrol later. And obviously, you can see the radio mast. It's literally the tallest thing in this town. It's like 3 stories tall.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hold out my hand, and the XO is going to place the, I forgot, what's the part of the radio you're talking to?
Handset.
Headset. I'm gonna, XO, progress the all open.
Yeah, alright, she turns some knobs. You're live.
And I'm gonna press the button, and say, good afternoon, everyone. Captain Schmidt, the first professional flying airs of the Doll military. According to the article blah 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 of such and such conventions, we are informed that we will be beginning a bombing run on this area in about a half hour. All civilians, please evacuate the premises immediately, and if the military wishes to surrender before said bombing, please put up the white flag, something such. I will hand back the receiver to the XO. I will cast explosive rounds on my automatic rifle.
Yep. Look at the structure.
Excuse me?
Said I'm talking to myself. I'm wondering. Radio is not necessarily a separate thing, but there is a radio room, so we'll use that stats.
Okay.
Guess what? It's kind of flimsy. as far as structures go. All right, well, how you do on explosive? Explosivo. By the way, because she has the radio pack and you guys are about a half hour out, Ulrich, you and the rest of the crew can kind of hear this too.
Okay.
Probably a little, but you're within range. I think, you've got quite a range on the full-blown radio pack.
Oh, yeah. Let's work. Oh, type. It's 40. That's one. So, by the way...
Yeah.
I rolled another 33.
Oh. Yeah, that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Ah, and that's a +0 thing. Which, by the way, in this case, I think means defaults to blast 1.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to re-roll this or anything?
I'll let it ride. I want to save my luck a little bit.
Alright, that's fair. That's right, I need the magic table. Spellcasting rolls. So I want to roll a pure D100s. Oh, that's funny.
What?
So that's a 44. That is tone. The spell produces a high, sharp ringing sound as the ether interacts with the air, which stays for 4 rounds. Actually, no, that'd be 5 rounds because we round up. Anyone who can hear it must make a toughness test or take -10 on all tests for the duration of the sound. So that's you guys.
All right,
Okay.
No, not the guys back at base, but Lucky does.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you just hear.
I don't want to be taking a -10 here, so I'm going to look on myself kind of low. All right, that's better. I rolled a 21 out of 33. That was 1 degree.
All right. So you're fine.
Right.
It's a little loud, but you'll deal. It only lasts a few seconds.
So I'm going
So
to...
because of your announcement, also go ahead and roll an intimidate with leadership. I want to say.
Oh, just raw leadership.
No, intimidation with leadership.
Oh, intimidation.
You are issuing a command, which is like, "Yo, get in your homes." Because if you completely blow this roll, they will not take you seriously.
I want them to take me seriously.
So, keep in mind the point.
You do have good cop, bad cop, though, so...
Yeah.
You do add a free degree.
If I succeed.
If you succeed, yes. By the way, I want to say for the audience, I originally rolled a 64, but that was dumb, so I rolled the 10s. Because making Lucky explode would have been really dumb right now. Yeah, 60 to 69 is greater backfire, everybody. That would have been a little too on the nose.
Okay. So, okay. Write this down. Crack this shit. There we go.
63 is probably not good for them. Alright. So, as you're casting, basically, somebody gets on the radio and immediately yells about blah, blah, blah. You were in violation of the airspace, da-da-da. You will cease and desist on our airwaves immediately, blah, blah, blah. So, somebody is like, who the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of my air. But, yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna take a full aim action on that radio tower.
Okay. Wow, that's gonna be a lot, because that's already probably a very large target.
Mm-hmm.
So that's +20.
Yeah, very large is +20.
Yeah. And then you aim for full aim's +30, I think, because, it eats
yes,
all
so
turn.
that's +50.
Are you also going to auto-fire?
Yes.
Okay, that's another +20.
That is
so +70.
+70.
Actually, I think that means you steady weapon instead of full aim. No, that's right. Steady is a half, so it's whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. The bonuses work out. +70. Shoot, and then I guess.
Double check. Weapon pack. Alright, nope, everything's fine there.
Other than yelling on the radio, nobody seems to know exactly who you are or what you're doing yet.
And, I'm gonna fire off my first auto-fire. Well, yeah, my first auto-fire. Let's see. So I rolled a 58. +7.
And you've got blast and anti-material.
Count it. Can't do that. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
Dice roll.
That is 4 degrees of success.
All right,
Right
all
on the
4 hit.
Yep.
What's your... Not actually roll it, but what is your damage roll for...
1d10 plus 5.
Okay, with 4 hits, that's minimum, that's enough, because it's blasted, so it's like... That's actually like plus 10 each time, and then you got anti-material, so like there's no reduction or anything. So yeah, just... You can roll all those dice if you want to know how bad, but the tower is fucking gone. You just... a bullet in each of the 4 struts on the ground, they explode, the tower just, crumples in on itself straight down and slams onto the ground. The angry radio transmissions immediately.
At this point, I will pull out my bullhorn, and I will repeat the message.
Okay. Make me an awareness test. Your companion should also try and make this test, probably. Or just do the bonus that, makes you better at it.
Assist.
She has the, actually, no, she has the, watch my 6.
That's good. You want to watch your 6 right now, Chief.
So, 30, I rolled a 38. I got a plus. I realized I was getting bad at awareness. 48. So, well, my perception of 30. That means I have 1 degree of success. Yay!
Okay, good. As you're fishing out your bullhorn, because, you feel like it, you observe out of the corner of your eye that Mr. Sailor on top of the observation tower appears to have noticed you because of your very loud machine gun noises, and has jumped in a little bit of an add-on that has been added to the top of this cruiser, which is a flat gun, and he is currently attempting to point it at you. BT Dubs, the short range on a flat gun is 2 kilometers, so how you'd have to be flying below the cloud layer to fly it, so you're probably like under a click off the ground. So you're in the short range. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, they got the message. Time to scat.
All right, go ahead and make a pilot roll to GTFO.
I will GTFO. That's not gonna GTF me enough. I'm gonna roll up on it.
Okay, that's good, because I think even if this guy really sucked at warfare ranged, he's got like a plus 20 because of anti-air, and you're in his short range. So he's got like a plus 30 to this. Yeah. And he would be auto-firing for another plus 20, so yeah, 63 is gonna work.
At some point. Okay, so roll the 40. That's get me 8. Yes, 1 degree of success.
Okay, you exit as you hear bop, 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 bop. Rounds start popping behind you as the timers go off. And you just whoop. Okay, they got the message. Yeah. You know that the light cruiser has the variant where it has a single flak mount. Right. It's got the El Cheapo anti-air conversion. However, that means that it probably doesn't have the anti-sub conversion where it has a depth charge launcher on the back.
Big rip.
By the way, if you wanted to, your radioman could attempt to hail the U-boat, because there's mages there. And be like, the time is now, code word go.
Yeah, I want them to get some action.
Alright.
I will instruct the Exos, contact the submate, relay the word.
Alright, you give them that good word, so they'll spend probably the remaining half hour maneuvering to get into position. Alright, you regroup with the unit. Everybody asks you how it went.
Well, there was one in the enterprising soul who thought it'd be fit to try and shoot me out of the air. Kudos to him. But everything else went according to plan. They will be rolling out quite the welcome prize.
Alright, well, it's now on like the Donkey Kong, as they say. You guys descend below the cloudware, like I said, about half an hour later. Well, probably with your turnaround time, more like 15 minutes with your travel, but yeah.
Yeah.
And just through the clouds. The planes are going. And everybody roll awareness, and then roll initiative.
Okay.
Coughed. I'm gonna drink some water.
Really glad I got this one.
It's 3DS for awareness now, initiative.
West.
Yeah, and this initiative will just be basically to determine order of operations. Okay. Theoretically...
Right, the lightning skirmish is on.
Skirmish is always first 2 rounds of combat.
Okay.
And also I have Think Fast.
That
+1.
+1 to initiative. Right, okay.
Yep.
Okay, so my initiative, where is it? Simplified battle sheet. There it is.
Oh, fucking hell.
Nice, so you'll probably be going first. Yeah, let me roll. I should make some effort to roll a singular number for them. That's good, okay. Yeah, so like I said, I should probably group this as like a mass combat, but I don't think the enemy on the ground is necessarily that organized. So mostly this is a question of like, how much work can you guys get done before the cruiser starts shooting stuff at you? And also, how good are they at shooting stuff at you?
15.
And did you roll awareness also, Mr.? Yeah, it is. Okay, saw it. And also 15 for, well, who's got the better agility? Or whatever modifier you're rolling.
Mine's a +5 total.
Okay. Marth, what's your plus? It's probably bigger.
Yeah, my initiative is... I actually do have...
What did you add to the D10? That's all I need to know.
Oh, right. That would be the Seer plus... Okay, and my initiative is very 6, so plus 1 from the other thing, so that's +7.
Alright, so yeah, he wins. He's +7, you're +5. Alright, well, since you guys both passed... Sorry. Had to clear my throat a little bit. Alright, so you descend below the clouds, you get an eyeball on the target again. So you can see slight amounts of distress from the town level. So the cruiser's not really at steam, but they do appear to actually be active. You see guys rushing to get back aboard, you know, like, I don't know, you'd say maybe a couple dozen sailors, you know, in there, like they were on shore leave, basically rushing up the dock to get up the gangplank, you know, kind of stuff. The gun turrets it has do appear to be up and on the swivel, though everybody should remember with the way the heavy vehicle rules work is for them to actually hit you with those guns is very hard because you're tiny and in the air. So theoretically, they've got close to like 20 naval cannons of various sizes. They're not going to really be able to shoot you with them because they'd have to roll very, very well because you're small targets to them and flying and other stuff. So mostly it's a question of if the point defense turret can actually hit you, and he can only focus on one target at a time. You do note, the captain notices this anyway. Remember those pleasure boats I talked about before? Mm-hmm. They appear to have, in the intervening, 30 or so minutes, appear to have set sail, for the most part, or be rigging up to set sail. Mm-hmm. There are those guys on the beach we talked about, the sandbag positions. The field guns are grossly attempted to be depressed up, but they cannot get a firing angle on you. However, like I said, there are riflemen and occasionally machine gunners in there who are kind of like set up, and they're vaguely pointing their guns up at you, so you might want to watch out for below. You got kind of a straight line angle along the beach. You see people kind of milling about in the streets a little bit, but most of them are sailors. And it looks like people who are still moving are basically moving into buildings.
Okay.
So you've taken care of the radio tower. So you've got, basically in a straight line along the docks, you've got 2 warehouses and the boathouse. There's the minefield if you care. There's the shore defenses if you care. There's the light cruiser, which you've told the U-boat to deal with, so presumably you're going to leave that alone for them to work on. And you've got the truck depot at the far end of town, if you care. It's only trucks after all. So, you guys are in the flight line position, and technically Ulrich has first option, so.
Right. So this is just directing the bombers to their
Well, yeah,
turrets?
it's whatever actions you want to take in this rigmarole. So the bombers, I kind of assume, will go after you guys all handle. They're on flight. They gotta move. They gotta maneuver.
Okay. Just trying to think about this. Since...
actions.
Okay, so... Just trying to think about what would be a prime target to go for. That can't just be taken care of by
as far
the
as I
bombers.
understand, what you've planned this out is the bombers are basically going in a straight line. Actually, Captain, here's a good way. What formation did you tell the bombers to fly in? Are they like ducks in a row? Flying
no,
V?
spread out V.
Okay. So, the easiest thing for them to do would be 1, 2, 3. Warehouse, boathouse.
Yep.
Dump a payload in each. Here's a good question. Since you got to pick rules of engagement, did you tell the bomber crews to be accurate or to blow lots of shit up?
Accurate.
Okay. So they're probably only going to drop like one bomb each, but they're going to try and make sure that bomb's really on target. So you may have to do some follow-ups.
Okay.
And obviously you guys have, 3 platoons of guys out here flying around now.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Basically, like, whatever the bombers don't, take out, we're gonna clean up.
Okay.
Right. So we're just waiting for the bombers to think first.
Yeah, you could hold. You guys trained in spotting, so you could spot target.
Yep.
I'll just go for spotting the warehouse for them.
Yeah. The first target. No, that's sport target. That's not correct.
Sport. Okay, so spot targets. Well, that's reducing indirect fire.
Let's see. Is there actually... They're a good vehicle option for this. Because, while they're called heavy bombers, they don't count as heavy vehicles in the rules because they're small crew.
Right.
Let's see if there's a vehicle action.
Drop it. Okay.
Because technically they're not doing indirect fire, they're doing, they're on site to target.
Right.
If you guys had anything that counted for marking the targets, that'd also be good.
I mean, I have my smoke grenades, but that means I have to be on the fucking...
Yeah, you'd have to throw them.
Where?
Yeah, I mean, that have to be real too.
Where?
That'd be danger close, yo.
Oh, I have the red smoke thing. Huh. Okay.
I mean, honestly, aren't you supposed to be isn't marking usually be alright, the target is such and such by such and such, beat something.
Yeah, smoke grenade is red.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to get on the shortwave and start belting out coordinate target, probably.
Yeah, I think I'll just do that and just try to direct.
Yeah, you can do that. Like I said, this is a little loosey-goosey. This is mostly who's doing what in what order.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'll just be doing. It's okay, so here and here and here.
Yeah, because you're probably one of the best eyes in the unit.
Try to do in this sort of line just so you could get the best possible spot for hitting.
They probably, this gives them the opportunity to basically kind of offset, so they probably switch from a V to more not a straight line, but an angled line, so they're all on target, but that's plenty good for them. Alright, Wolfgang, what are you doing?
Let's see here. So the radio mass is already out.
Radio mass is gone, so you don't need to worry about reinforcements. There are some gentlemen dressed as Royal Marines on the ground with rifles, but what's the actual range of a fucking rifle? The normalest ass range.
It's 500.
Yeah, so they can't
500.
really... Yeah, they'd be at long, I think, or long to extreme to shoot at you, so...
I think extreme is 2,000 max.
Yeah, so they're between long and extreme range to shoot at you, so no, it's no real point. They're trying to hit...
that guy on their, guy in the cruiser on that anti-air?
Yeah, there is a flak turret, which will fire at you, because you're well within his range. The Marines on the docks will probably take some pot shots, but they're not going to hit anybody unless you guys make a deliberate action to fly low. Same for the light machine gunners on the beach. That's still extreme range.
Yeah, so I'm going to go for the guy up the flak turret and whoever's operating it.
All right, so that's a called shot. minus 20. But other than that, I don't think you have any penalties. Because it's...
What is full auto? Full auto's full action, right?
Yeah, full auto's full action.
Right? Yeah, okay, so I can't aim.
But that cancels out your called shot penalty.
Yeah.
You're within your normal range, not short. But you're in range. Your companion could do stuff. She's got guns. Doesn't she have a sniper rifle?
Shooter. Oh no, she didn't take the skill, that's right. She took the stat off. She's better at shooting.
There's a default follow my tracers.
Yeah. So follow my tracers. I'm aiming for a component, right? But don't I still get the bonus for the large target?
Yeah, I think normally, I think we can just say that because you're trying to shoot the gunner, a man-sized target. This is normally the called shot. You're in range. Your whatchamacallit will eat it.
Okay.
So he's technically normal sized.
All right, very well then. Oh wait, no, that's 10.
So there are 4 rounds down the drain.
That's 3 DOS.
Is that counting your muzzle brake?
Oh, no, that's 4, yeah.
Alright, it's all 4 hits.
I forgot about that.
This guy's not really great at evasion, but we can run... Oh, that's an 7. So I think that's enough to... Nah, he'd probably only have like a 30 at best, so that would still be 1 hit. So roll 1 damage die as he realizes you're shooting at him and dives off the gun. So roll 1 damage, he dodges 3 more.
Oh, I rolled 9. That's 14. Last 1.
Yeah. So he doesn't. He's in the area, not the evasion, so he takes X1 damage. But what's your pen and all that on that?
Excuse me?
What's your Pearson stuff on all that?
7.
Okay, so he's basically taken. What's your damage?
Sorry, you cut out there.
What's your damage? Give me the number.
Oh, number. It is 14. Blast is an effect, right? So.
Nah, it would not be double because he. No, it wouldn't. He's ducking out of the way, so it's not double. It's still 14. He catches some shrapnel as he dives away from the gun. You would probably inflict special damage, but I don't really care about this guy that much. Let's see. Does he make a... No, it's not enough. He's probably passed out from shock or something.
Okay.
So, if you guys fuck around here too much longer, they'll get a second guy up on that gun, because the gun is still intact for now, but you have delayed him shooting at you because they rolled a 9. So, so that was your whole action. So basically, alright, bombers are gonna go. First bomber will take aim for a +10. And then, what's the standard Woofer? This is an R on the ace pilot. Let me check. How good are these guys? Decent. Then you get a +10. You're shooting at the ground, so it's a very large target, so we'll call it +30. It's a warehouse. So, 75% chance to get on target. Otherwise, I have to roll the scatter die. That is a 29. That is on target. So, first one signals possible. You may be able to hear him slightly over the clatter of shooting and stuff. The vague bombs away. What the fuck am I doing? That's not how you spell iron at all. I wrote orpum. Iron occurs a lot of times in this document. I should specify iron bomb. So, iron bomb's damage is 4d10, blast 8. So the blast comes into account. Okay, so that's actually pretty low on damage. So that's 5, 9, another 9, that's 18. What's 18 doubled? That's what?
36?
Yeah, 36 damage to yonder bunker. Well, warehouse. So, warehouse is... Oh, that's not quite enough. Warehouses are pretty hardy. The Pen 5 is good, so it takes the full damage, but that's not quite enough integrity to destroy the building, so... there's a big boom. Mushroom cloud. There's a big hole in the roof. There's some small secondary fires, but apparently that one was probably loaded with, like, water or food or something, not particularly volatile, so it doesn't spectacularly explode. So you may want to do some follow-up on that.
Right.
Actually, that's a good question. I think you were going to say Lucky earlier, but you stopped. What are your orders to your units? You've got 3 platoons of guys floating around, basically.
I was gonna say, Airwolves to do follow-up bombing.
Right.
Everyone else is recovering support is standby, and scouts are maintain the perimeter.
All right, so scouts spread out and kind of form a flying ring around you. Rifles basically fly close escort. Let's roll and see how good these guys are. Okay, let's see.
The what?
Now I'm doing. Now I gotta do things, rules. Scatter chart. 10 o'clock. Unfortunately, in your first pass, your rifles apparently seem to fail to take into account windage, and most of their first couple of payloads get sucked out to sea and basically explode harmlessly in the water or on the beach.
Oh, this wasn't in the town.
Yeah, they rolled an 81, so I'm like, whoop!
Yeah, no.
But the scatter
These things happen.
Yeah, so... and the rest of them are basically, they're not that they're in any much better range either, but they're taking occasional pot shots back at guys who are shooting vaguely up at you. Because they have the advantage of height, so it's like, and firing at grounded targets, so, some guy pops his head up with a rifle, like, around a corner on a dock, or, like, hops on a rooftop or something, and they're like, okay, hold on. Go away, sir. Shoots some bullets, he ducks his head down. Alright, so, they've got, like, these guys hitting a large vehicle super easy, so I'm not even going to roll for the torpedo hit. I will just roll torpedo damage.
Okay.
Expedite. Hey, this is what we call expedite.
Yeah, expedite, so it doesn't take long.
Well, yeah, like I said, they have a dead on target. Unlike the whatchamacallit, the bombers who were flying above cloud cover. These guys have periscopes and mages in the water, so they can get lined up real good on target. So let's see, where's torpid damage? So that's 4d10 pen 6, blast 6. So let's roll those 4d10s again, and maybe hope for some criticals. Nope. My d10s are very swingy today, so that's 7, 14 plus 9 would be 23, and then doubled to 46. So there's a big explosion on the flank of the light cruiser. If you guys were looking carefully, you probably would have seen the kind of the bubble trail as the torpedo, as the fish flies off, slaps into the underhull somewhere. Probably catches mostly ablative armor, pretty close to the water line. Nothing definitive, but harmful anyway. So, yeah, basically, you guys have another turn to adjust any behaviors or do anything different if you like.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll just, go down the line.
Right, well, the bombers done their first target.
Yep, they're moving on to the second.
Castle. Should I? I have that thing. So should I just help with spawning the next target for them? Lucky.
The what?
Should I just help with them spawning the next?
Yeah.
Keep an eye for the next target.
Yeah, like honestly, that'd probably be best.
Okay, I'll do that.
Alright, you keep your eyeball on the target, keep walking them to it. That's probably pretty good. As of yet, you see nothing really changing about the target, so it's just a pretty straightforward, alright, mark blah 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 when you're right over it. So Wolfgang, are you doing anything in particular now, this time?
Yeah, I'm going to finish off the building.
Okay. It's a large target, it's plus 30. It's a building, it's not going anywhere.
30, auto fire is 20.
Though that said, there is actually a rule about shooting buildings, which is like, you should only not make them roll if there's absolutely no chance of failure, as if they were right up next to it, possibly hitting it with a melee weapon. So yeah, you get like plus 50 for this, but you still have to roll, because theoretically, recoil and stuff, you could fuck up.
I could fuck up.
Alright.
It's highly unlikely, but I could. So large target, auto fire, I'm gonna command, give the XLR to follow my tracers, just because. Might as well. Large, don't have time to aim those. Plus 60? Yes. So that gives me the lovely total of 91. I rolled a 41.
So your
that
hits.
is 6 degrees of success because muzzle break.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm going
once
to-
again, with just your native flat damage being doubled because of blast and antimaterial and all that. And what's your pen again? Like 7?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, with your full hits, you just polish it off. You dump a couple explosive rounds into what's left of the roof. You find something volatile in there for a secondary explosion. The building
Maybe they have a
mostly
truck parked on the
collapses or is properly catches on fire. It's done so.
Yay. First target done.
Alright, the bombers will get on target for the next one. They, like we said, have a very big bonus. That's 85 out of 75. That's not good. That said, though, scatter I think is like by yards. They might not get like direct hit damage, but I think they'll still hit on target. Let me roll scatter. It's a 7. I think that's still that direction out to sea. So scatter dice. Scatter chart 7. Oh, ow, that's even better. That's 6 o'clock.
What?
That's slightly in front of the target, and they only failed by 1 degree. So
Okay.
let's roll 40 10s. We're not going to double it, but there is a 10 in there and an 8. So that's 18, 21, 24 total. So the second bomb is a little late. It lands a little on the far side of the target. It hits some empty industrial area, basically some empty streets and stuff. Because it's not a direct hit, it doesn't do any serious damage, but like the windows are all blown out. If there were any guards left standing on the ground right next to it, actually, it probably hits what's left of it. Hits the ruins of the radio mast. Actually, if I'm thinking about the direction, so yeah, like creates a lot of shrapnel. If there were any, there are probably a couple of guys who were standing on the ground shooting up at you who now no longer exist, unfortunately for them. But the building is not super damaged. Like partial wall collapse, some secondary fires, like we said. But not polished off, so let's have your boys try and finish that up. This time they do much better. They are on target. So let's roll 2d10s. They get double 6s, and it's on target, so it's doubled, so that's 24, so that will finish it off.
Yay!
Basically, on this pass, they drop a second pair of bombs and just... you probably get, half a dozen hits between your guys, and the building collapses into a pile.
Nice.
Alright, I'm gonna roll some dice. Basically, you guys both roll percentiles, and I'll roll some percentiles, and let me know if you critically fail.
Okay.
Because that's the only possible way that that this situation that I'm about to reference is gonna go poorly for you. If you are supremely unlucky.
I mean,
Okay.
well, I don't know. Well, oh wait, no. Yeah, well, I didn't crit fail, so I was about to ask, like, what am I basing this roll off of?
No, this is. Did you botch? No.
No, I did not botch.
Okay. No.
No
All right.
botch.
So apparently the torpedoing startles the cruiser crew, because they have a couple of probably their lighter turrets, positioned vaguely in your direction, and they just lit out a full blown fucking barrage. But nobody is unlucky enough to be directly in the path of a shell, so basically these things go sailing and explode somewhere in the clouds behind you. Tiny bits of shrapnel and smoke kind of like rain down on you lightly, but nothing hostile. But yes, they fire wildly into the air, and it doesn't hit you because why the fuck would it? But it's very loud, very impressive. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, now, because it matters, I'll have our friends dump another torpedo, and I'll roll for them. Very large target. They can take a half aim. That's pretty good degrees of success. 20, roll some damage. Wow, my yellow damage d10s hate you. I have exactly 4 of them, but almost under half of them always roll like below 5. So that's 8, 12, 16. That torpedo's not very good. That still doubles to 20-something, so they've done, about 50 points worth of damage, which is about a fifth of the light cruiser's armor, or defenses. Actually, I should double check. What is the armor? They have a pretty decent pen, so I think we're getting... And we're attacking the bottom armor, so... I might have to start... Light cruiser, bottom's pretty thick. So, yeah, this one mostly harangues off the armor. Bong. There's a big plume of water.
How much armor do these light cruisers have?
Top is 30.
Yeah, there's no way I'm getting it.
And if you want to make a called shot to weapons or bridge, they have the armored bridge special quality, which gives them an additional 10 points of armor.
Yes, it'd be armor 40.
Yes.
Yeah, hell no.
No, they're a little designed for this, but however, after the second fish, so we'll move on to the third turn of this thing. At this point, this has probably been going on for probably about 5 minutes, or longer even. Depending on how much of a high speed pass you want to make. But at this point, for the most part, Marines have stopped shooting at you because they're not hitting you, and your guys just suppress them. So everybody's basically hunkering down. You see a couple of bucket brigades forming to douse the fires so they don't spread. Some guys have basically just, jumped off the dock and are, like, swimming up the ship. You see those little... because there's obviously a U-boat or something out there, you see those little torpedo boats moving out from the launch. So they're technically going to be out and about. You won't blow them up, but you will blow up the boathouse they go in, assuming you hit. And torpedo boats are regular vehicles, so they're much lighter armored if you wanted to blow one of those up.
So the bomber's third target is, and my guy's third target's gonna be the boathouse. So I'm gonna go take out the truck deep.
Sure. Yes. All right.
And after this, we'll probably fucking skedaddle.
Okay.
Right. I'm just hoping to spot the.
So basically, what's happening though is you see steam start to pour out of the smokestacks of the cruiser. They're starting to get underway because clearly there's some shit going on and we should not be sitting still. Docked. The gangplank starts to get pulled up even though probably, a decent chunk of their guys are still on shore. And you see the anchors come up. And then, through your tiny field glasses perhaps, you see some guys in some diving suits hanging onto those anchors.
Oh.
And you feel like this cruiser will perhaps have a bad time. As they are undercrewed, and half a dozen mages have just skedaddled onto their boat like Chinese river pirates.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about the cruiser.
So because hey, guess what? Armor doesn't help from the inside.
Nope.
Wolfgang, you're gonna fly off and deal with the truck depot.
Yeah.
All right. They're trucks. They're not going anywhere. They're staying still. You can probably just. Are you willing to sacrifice the rest of your mag of ammo?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can probably just Rambo the trucks. Nobody's even in them at this point. They're because they're all concentrated on the port, and you just fly over. So, you dump the remainder of your explosive rounds into the trucks. They're not all blown up, but most of them are on fire. The tires are probably all, blown out. Windscreens are shattered, stuff like that. Headlamps are all broken, so they're in no condition to drive anywhere. All right. Ulrich is going to continue spotting for that boathouse. Theoretically, the torpedo boats have, small autocannons or heavy machine guns, which would probably be in range to shoot at you, but they're not really designed for anti-air, so I'm going to do like I said with the shore guns and say they can't depress high enough to shoot at you. They'd have to aim straight up. So they'll just fuck about. We'll deal with them later. So, let's see. Johnny Bomberman's got a roll to their 75% chance. That is 54. That is on target once again. Let's roll his bomb dice. Now there's a roll, so that's 14. 22 plus 9 would be 37. No, I'm thinking it's wrong. It's be 31. That doubles to 61. That was just flattened. Apparently they kept some fuel or something in there, and the boathouse wasn't as reinforced as the warehouse, because obviously it's got to be open up on one side to let boats in and out, and it just violently explodes and flops into the ocean. One of the torpedo boats is horribly sunk as debris rains down on it, and part of the roof just slaps into it, and it's dragged under.
Oh dear.
The other boat decides to fire up its prop and just scoot off and get away from that situation. So, you guys have basically cleaned out all targets. The The cruiser will probably
Okay.
like I said, one more futile barrage at the sky that's not going to hit anybody.
Yeah, no. We'll call it good.
All right. And then after that, you start to see small secondary explosions on the cruiser.
Oh, bad.
And see
I was thinking about if they were
stuff.
running into trouble. I was thinking if they're going to run into trouble, we might hang around. But no, they seem to be fucking that boat up.
No, you quickly see, remember how I said that guys were, like, jumping off the docks to get on the cruiser? Guys are now jumping off the cruisers to get on the docks, because the cruiser is no longer the place to be. The U-boat probably surfaces with its deck gun to take care of that torpedo boat. You know, just puts a couple of rounds in them, and they're disabled or sunk. And,
let's ski dazzle.
It's time to head back.
Yeah. Let's see, should I make any? Yeah, make me a navigation to not get lost or overextend getting back. Maybe you'll waste a lot of charges. But basically, as you guys are leaving, you see the mages, dive back into the water and hop on their U-boat. The cruiser kind of like half steams after them, but clearly like a lot of its guns are disabled, or tampered with. It's taken some damage. Maybe they blocked up the screw so it can't go very fast. And you guys get away scot-free.
Oh yeah.
Alright, 4 degrees of success. So everybody would use 3 more charges, except the captain would only use 1, but that's not a big deal.
So 3. Okay.
So yeah, this would be a concern if you guys had to actually use magic, but you managed to not fuck up anything really and keep everybody on point.
Yeah.
Yep. I was sort of prepared for coming, but then again, we were up in the air. I can't really do much with my magic. Unless I wanted to use a jar of dirt.
But yeah, so alright, you guys fly on back.
That's one done.
No real injuries from your team.
A little too high.
Yeah. You were like I said, flying right up by the cloud layer. You didn't necessarily try and get any closer because bombs are ground targeting. So, you managed to do pretty good at disabling the one actual anti-aircraft gun, and then everybody else was basically taking pot shots. Scouts have no reports on the perimeter, and you flew home because you blew up the radio tower before anybody could call for more help. When you get back, they're a little slower, but you will eventually get a telegram from the nearest port that the U-boat popped back into to get their torpedoes back and stuff, and basically be like, no problems, return to port.
Cool.
If you had, your own light cruiser lingering back for, like, as a recovery platform, basically, will probably report that they caught the light cruiser that steamed out after the U-boat and forced them to retreat back to port before they fucked off themselves.
Oh, okay.
And, everything seems to have worked out okay. Good job, team. There were some failures and there were some scattered dice, but luckily the dice did not bone you over and mostly rolled them into uninhabited areas.
Thank goodness.
So yeah. I assume you guys, like I said, you just beat feet and don't stick around too long to watch for, like, whatever else is there.
No,
targets are on fire, stuff's burned down.
I'm curious about the merfolk, like, the supposed thing, but again, that might be something for season 2. That's a thread that might get pursued at a later date, but right now...
Future investigation.
Future.
Makes sense. That's good, because you guys didn't really do anything that would have agitated them. You guys took the warning to heart. Yeah.
I was originally thinking of a sea way, maybe try and take out some of those mines. I'm like, but you explained, I'm like, I really don't need... Alright. Cool!
Alright, you return to base, handshakes all around, bomber crews are good. The general impression you get from the men is that everybody's glad, no injuries, everything went according to plan. There is a little bit of an impression that, like, some of the people are like, man, we kind of overtrained for this, boss. They were expecting some more serious work, and most of them didn't have to do anything, but mostly everybody's happy with, mission accomplished, all the targets hit, nothing really horrific happened to anybody.
Well, I will take the moment, like, we overtrained, it's all like, this is only the first of many missions. They will only get more and more difficult as we go on.
Hey, speaking of which, so you guys are back at base. Do you want me to You want me to give you the notes on the next target?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So this was probably given to you over the prior couple of weeks, but like I said, I didn't want to get anybody confused about what was what.
Okay.
So, you return to base, handshakes all around, like I said. The Major congratulates you on a successful mission. You go to write some reports, and we flash back. So, you get your scouting report in. You know, your chief scoutsman is there. I think that's Falkenrath. I'm not looking at it right now. I could, but I'm not. So, he reports to you basically the situation. So this is an actual naval yard. This is a full-blown Navy base kept by the Royal Navy. This is not just, we took over some buildings at a port somewhere. The way he describes the lay of the land, and you'd actually be familiar with this, is basically around the area of the Cape, there's a peninsula of land, right? So on the north side, there's one bay. This is mostly a civilian port town.
Okay.
On the south side, there is another bay, another like semicircular bay. Most of this is taken up by the Navy Yard. So you've got a full-blown settlement.
Okay, so they kept so they've separated basically the military and civilian aspect.
Yeah, the most of the town is on one side of the bay, and then the military took over a second bay that was not as developed and was like, okay, we'll set up here because nobody's here. So this target is industrial. They couldn't get as close because obviously it was a much denser and more heavily populated target, but he reports that this is the real deal. It's a full-blown naval base based on the sketches. You're talking, 10, maybe a dozen or more, just pure warehouses of storage, filled with ammo, water, fuel, whatever they need. They have multiple berths, probably upwards of a dozen docks, of various sizes for various ships, all the way up to their largest classes. They've got an actual couple of dry docks for, full-blown repairs and retrofits. They've even got, they're small, but they've even got some facilities for building ships, building keels and stuff. And, setting them to manufacture here. There's a lot of spare space for just guys to walk around loading and unloading areas. There's some barracks for all the officers. There's an actual command building. It's a naval yard, so there's an actual Navy office here with a full-blown command staff and stuff. Which has its own radio mast, which is even taller than the last radio mast, for even more range and more impressive. And unfortunately, basically what he reports to you is that according to your scouts, not necessarily excessive, but this target has already been fortified against air. You're looking at, there's an old coastal fort, which has been slightly repurposed with coastal guns to kind of like shelter the bay on the peninsula, So it's a little out of date, but stone walls are still stone walls, right? And it appears that some of these points have been loaded with anti-air cannons, the big stuff that some of the big ships have. He reports that there is a runway in the naval yard. Most of what they saw coming and going is seaplanes, probably doing recon, though they did see some transport planes land. But this place is shielded by flak guns. So nobody unauthorized can land at the runway. And there are other points. There are actual watchtowers with searchlights and, machine guns. Proper machine guns, at least. Which are actually, pointing up and out in addition to conventional coastal defenses. There's, like you said, there's the runway, and obviously this is a major supply depot. So they've got food, fuel, ammo, medical supplies, all in excess. But that just makes it all the more a priority target. So yeah, this is going to be a lot denser and going to be a lot bigger of a deal.
Right. Oh yeah. Huh.
The runway scouts report that. Oh, Lucky's muted. Whoops. Hopefully he doesn't need me to review or anything of that.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself.
No, just checking. Hopefully you didn't ask any questions, any gaps there.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
The runway, they will report that based on their observations, because they had to do so at a distance, they didn't see any mages taking off or landing there, but theoretically it's a runway with storage space. They could have some mages based there. You do know that the Britannians have been experimenting with seaplane carriers and mage carriers too, so it's possible they may have some naval aviator mages.
Well, just because of how the target is, I don't think I'll be able to see you guys in.
No, there will not be any unless you want to take another big delay, which you're going to have to pitch to your bosses, to send like the U-boat to do submarine recon. Keeping in mind that this is an actual naval port, they will have like sea fences and guys with hydrophones listening for submergers.
Yeah, like
stuff like that. Yeah, like you could get submages to take a look, but otherwise no. It's gonna your scouts are doing all of this with field glasses and rifle scopes.
Honestly, it's honestly what we need. Like, really.
It's fenced in, so it's like it's got a proper fencing. There's a checkpoint and everything at the front door.
We might.
On the other hand, target-rich environment. These are all military targets packed densely together. They're going to be shooting back at you this time, but it's pretty.
We might be able to send some advanced party, like a little bit ahead of the bombers, pick up some of these anti-air. But other than that, no. It's literally it's gonna be fly over, drop bombs, and keep flying until we get the fuck away.
Makes sense.
So I got to think of the best way to approach.
Yeah, I figured we'd wrap up the session here because we're at almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
So I got you the details.
The air.
You got all your stuff.
It's anti-air country.
All those anti-air guns.
So yeah, the town's gonna this time the target for sure is gonna shoot back. There's gonna be there's space in this port for big boats, so you're gonna have to watch out for that.
Okay.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, I need to increase more penetrations and some stuff. Iron bombs can stay, but torpedoes should probably be a little bit more like depth charges.
Okay.
But that's just balancing stuff, because I don't think we've had any for realsies naval combat ever. So,
yeah.
Now that I had to actually roll dice, the iron bombs I think are good, because they're blastate, pretty good. But torpedo damage was a little low, so I'll adjust that. I'll give them more pen.
Okay.
But do you have any other questions or anything you want before we wrap it up and let it go?
The anti-air defenses, they can swivel 360, right?
Yeah, no, those are turrets. They've got basically around the runway. They've got light flak mounts so that they can shoot down planes. There's going to be the coastal fort on one side that's going to have actual anti-air guns, which are different. That's an anti-aircraft gun. Has slightly different damage than a flak gun. Basically, the flak gun is a machine gun that's been modified. The 2 barrels or 4 barrels. It's 2 actually. They're linked. So they're shooting a lot of rounds, but they're small. They're basically like the equivalent of anti-tank rounds, but they explode. The anti-aircraft gun is like a 20 or 30 millimeter, probably more like 30 or 40 millimeter cannon, which fires big, heavy, slow, timed explosives. Okay. So they have a bigger blast. They are anti-air. They have a way bigger range. They do more damage, but they're slow. They can't fire automatically. So.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, looking at the damage, a flak gun is basically just a slightly modified autocannon.
Okay.
Just need to have the best optimized path.
Yeah, you guys can do some fancy navigation and squiggling on your maps.
Yeah.
It's playing your flight routes.
Yeah, I like to try and avoid the anti-air as much as possible.
Sure.
There are ways to...
There is also an advantage, you could, for instance, once again, you could pull your kind of more land-based approach and, approach from over the civilian target. That would probably put you at a higher risk of being spotted by people, but would mean they'd be less willing to shoot you down over civilian targets, basically. But that does carry the risk that if something bad does happen and you get shot down or there's an accident, you would be over civilian targets. A dense population center.
Well, they shouldn't have fucking shot us down then.
No. But yes,
so, you could be spawning it as
next session will be, I assume, more planning and training and prep and stuff, and then I have a little side scenario which is related to some other plot threads I want to bring in. So.
Oh no.
That'll be good. We'll cover that.
We're probably not going to have that much training time. I do know that command was we need to hit the target as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they're the whole point is to do them in rapid sequence. So
yeah.
So it's probably not going to be that long of a playing session next time.
Everybody gets 4 MC hazard pay. Not that matters because you guys got lots of fat week pay.
Fat week!
You did pretty good. Mission was pretty well planned. I'm trying to decide between about 300 or 400 XP. Let's go with 300.
Okay, let's see here. What can I get?
And then that's 150 for companions. So I yawn, and I will say, for the sake of our audience, that, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that. This was session 23. I just uploaded 20 for scheduling, but that's because we kind of suddenly got together to record this. Because I was there was, like you said, there was going to be a little more delay, but then you came back and were like, no, wait, I can do it.
Yeah, no.
So I didn't get as many episodes turned around as I wanted before we gamed next, but that's because we had a little bit of a weird schedule. Yeah. So hopefully this doesn't take forever to come out. All right. I'm going to cut the recording.
Okay. Getting